Good morning. It is Monday, August the 30th, and this is The Drill. Welcome to all the butchers, bakers, and candlestick makers out there. I'm Ron, your host and the only true conservative in the United States today. I'm the only true conservative because I'm the only one that understands that it is character that matters rather than personality. So today, Music Monday, after we do the daily declaration for spiritual warfare, recite the Pledge of Allegiance, and sing the national anthem, it will be Music Monday, and I will also have about 5 minutes worth of commentary, then America the Beautiful, and closing remarks. All that when I come back. Thank you. This is the daily declaration for August the 30th. I will fill your land with godly lawmakers. I am gracious and full of compassion and righteousness. I will bless the man who delights greatly in my ways. I will raise up a people who are willing to lead my people in righteousness. I will establish my principles in the laws of your land and will honor those who uphold them. A good man deals graciously and lends. He will guide his affairs with discretion. He will not be shaken or fearful of evil tidings, for his heart is steadfast because he trusts in me. He is dispersed abroad and is given to the poor. He will be exalted with honor, and he will guide my people in integrity and establish my foundation of righteousness in the land. I will rescue you from evil people. I will deliver you from evil men and will preserve you from violent men who plan evil things in their hearts. They have purposed to make your steps stumble. The proud have laid a snare for you, but I will cover your head in the day of battle. I will not grant the desires of the wicked or further their evil schemes. I will maintain the cause of the afflicted and justice for the poor. The righteous will give thanks to my name, and the upright will dwell in my presence. No grave trouble will overtake the righteous, but the wicked will be filled with evil. Prevent injustice and iniquity. My child, I will loose the chains of injustice and untie the cords of the yoke to set free those oppressed by iniquity. I will thwart the plans of the crafty so that their hands achieve no success. I will catch the wise in their craftiness, and the schemes of the wily will be swept away. I will save the needy from the sword in their mouth and will save them from the clutches of the powerful. Prayer declaration. Lord, you love righteousness and justice and will foil the plans of the nations and thwart the purposes of the unjust. We wait and hope for you to act. You are our help and our shield, and in you our hearts rejoice, for we trust in your holy name. May your unfailing love rest upon us, O Lord, even as we put our hope in you. Amen. And that was the daily declaration for spiritual warfare for Monday, August the 30th. Thank you, thank you. So I was listening to a little bit of Joe Biden's speech, the latest speech where he was talking about the casualties from the bombing. And I noticed, one of the things that I noticed that nobody else has noticed is that throughout all of this, whenever the president or anyone else for that matter, right or left, talks about what's going on in Afghanistan recently, nobody fixes the blame. Nobody does that. Nobody is fixing the blame. Somebody has to take, so to speak, take the gaff for what's going on. Now, if it is true, not if he thinks so, but if it is true that the President of the United States, the buck stops with him, and it's from an old saying, passing the buck. It's not my fault, it's somebody else, and that ultimately the buck has to stop with the President of the United States, then the President of the United States must do one of two things. He either has to accept responsibility, blame himself, it's my fault, I apologize, and I hope that you can forgive me, and then go ahead and resign. I mean, that's how big this is, that he should then go ahead and step down, or he fixes the blame on whoever it is that happens to, whoever's appropriate. If this is a problem because the military people did not, the higher-ups in the military didn't organize this withdrawal properly, then somebody in the military needs to be blamed. It may be the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. I think that's some guy named Malley or whatever. But whomever it is that was in charge of this from the military standpoint, at the very least, then the president and everybody else should be saying he's the one that was in charge of this withdrawal, and he is the one that has to take the blame for what's going on, and that he should then, assuming that it's true that this person is to blame, apologize and ask for forgiveness, beg the country for forgiveness, and then, of course, go ahead and resign to show his sincerity. So that's what needs to happen. But again, the reason we don't have people in anywhere, it's not even just in high office. I understand if you're holding an office, you're president, you're vice president, you're part of history, and you don't want to go down in history as the guy that had to resign because of I understand all that ego stuff. But nobody's doing it. Nobody is saying this specifically is Joe Biden's fault and why it's Joe Biden's fault, or maybe it's his fault, but it's indirect because, again, maybe one of his military people, maybe his Secretary of Defense, maybe somebody else in his cabinet was put in charge of this, and maybe it's their fault, and they're the ones that need to take the gaff for this. But we don't do that anymore. We don't blame people when things go wrong because the left, the Nancy Pelosi's of this country, have brainwashed us into not assigning blame. They've been doing it for decades. Let's not blame. Let's not point fingers. They denigrate blame by calling it pointing fingers. We have to blame. It is absolutely necessary because if we don't blame, then we're not going to find out, number one, who was wrong, and number two, we're not going to find out what went wrong, and we're going to end up making the same mistakes over and over and over again. So, to review, nobody is currently assigning blame for what is going on in Afghanistan. Everybody is acting as though they're neutral on this. This is all part of the cult of neutrality. I'm not neutral. I'm biased. I'm biased in favor of my country, but I also want to know when things go wrong. I want to know who screwed up, who to point the finger at. So somebody has to take the gaff here, and if nobody else is going to, the president isn't going to point his finger at anyone else, then the president is the one that has to take responsibility. He's going to have to say, it's my fault, I apologize, please forgive me, and then resign.
should.
Thank you very much, and very, very beautiful. And I want to remind everybody that I've got a companion book to this podcast called The Drill. It's for sale on Kindle Publishing. It's an ebook, and it's $2.99 unless you have Kindle Unlimited, in which case you can get it for free. Also, I want to remind you, 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday is the John and Ken Show on KFI AM 640. And I'm plugging their show because they communicate in a very, very conservative way. They do not waffle. They don't equivocate. They don't hem and haw and maybes. Not a lot of maybes and stuff. They know what's right. They know what's wrong, and they express it just that way. So until next time, remember to be honest, to be beautiful, to be smart, and remember that the left has no authority, it has no power, and it can't win.